Blazers later tonight. And Mike, you mentioned it. We have to start with how this season kicked off. What a beginning to this 2025 NBA season. It started with a bang. Well, really, it actually started with some bling as we saw the Thunder getting their championship rings last night on their home floor against the Houston Rockets. SGA and company taking a look at that new hardware that was well-earned, the top team in the Western Conference. All of last season as they watched that banner raised to the roof inside Oklahoma City. And SGA right out of the gates, kind of a slow start for him, but later in the second half into overtime, he scored 24 of his 35 points. Alperen Şengün was able to tie the game, but in overtime, double overtime, it was SGA who helped the Thunder pull away and hold off the Rockets 125-124. And final shot from Jabari Smith just missing at the buzzer. What a way to start off this season. Mike, your takeaway from the debut of this NBA season?
Well, the first thing, Stephen, is obviously no one was monitoring minutes last night because we hear about how much they're concerned with the older players. How about Şengün, 49 minutes? How about KD, 47 minutes in the game? Shea, the MVP from last season, 47 minutes, and Dort, 45 minutes. The coaches wanted to win that opening night game. They came out, they went after each other. The crowd was exceptional in the game. Getting the bling obviously set the tone for the evening. But you saw a great defensive job early on against Shea. But then the second half and in the overtimes, he figured it out. The team figured it out. Other guys stepped up. And there was a big, tall guy who kept making threes for Oklahoma City. And boy, was home good when they needed him.
And SGA, what do you make of his second half? What separated Shea from, his first half? What made the difference for him down the stretch?
It's the same with most great scorers. They get to the foul line. Knocking down jumpers is one thing, knocking down jumpers and then going to the foul line to add an extra point. You see there in the overtimes, he had 8 free throw attempts as compared to just 6. 2 only in the first half, and then 4 more in the second half. Great scorers, great players have a knack for getting those extra points by getting to the free throw line.
And we'll have much more on Kevin Durant coming up later in our hour. SGA looking to defend as the most valuable player. What'd you make of his opening statement, Mike?
I think it was pretty impressive to come back off that. And look, he's a very unselfish player. So his willingness against the double teams to give the ball up to find open teammates, but they've got to make shots if he's going to put the ball in their hands. Eventually, he will take it upon himself, as so many great players do. If his team can't get it going, in the second half, we saw him take it upon himself. He's so hard to guard because that first step of his, where you think he's going by you, he's got that elongated stride, and then his ability to step back, create space, elevate, get a great look at the basket. He's a knockdown shooter. You give him a look, he's making it.
Important to note, Jalen Williams didn't even play in this game for the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champions. It's one of our big storylines heading into this season is, can the Thunder repeat as champs? There have been 7 different NBA champions in the last 7 years, Mike. What's it going to take down these Thunder here this season?
When you look at their roster and see that there wasn't a big shakeup that took place, there wasn't a lot of new people being brought in. They basically had 0 veteran additions to this team in the offseason. They like what they have. They're a very young team. It's a great front office. It's a great coaching staff. And they have terrific players on the team. And they like each other. And they're all on the same page. Why are you going to change it? You won last year. If you stay healthy, why couldn't you do it again?
Yeah, they returned 14 of their 15 players from that playoff roster a year ago. SGA still only 27 years old. He's the veteran right now of that squad. Pretty crazy to think about. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, both of them under the age of 24 right now for this OKC team. They won 68 games last year. You like the over-under for that number this year in the regular season?
Boy, 68 is a big number. That is so hard to do in the NBA. 2 teams, OKC at 68, Cleveland Cavaliers at 64. I'm not sure they can get back to that level again. A lot of other teams improved. All you got to do is lose 1 or 2 along the way that you weren't counting on. 68, 64, whew, that's a big number.
We'll make our NBA Finals picks coming up later in the show, Mike. But what teams in the West can compete with this Thunder team, especially after you saw their debut last night without Williams?
Well, the Western Conference is a monster. You have so many good teams there. We saw Houston, obviously, at OKC. And then, Dallas is going to be better than people thought they are. It's a good nucleus there for Dallas. And when they get Kyrie Irving back from the surgery, which could happen around the new year, add him to that roster. I love what Denver did. Denver is going to be right there fighting for a championship at the end of the season. Minnesota, which Minnesota is going to show up? Anthony Edwards. Each year, he improves his scoring a little bit more than he did the year before. Can the supporting cast give him enough help? And then Lakers, Clippers will be very interesting. And Golden State showed last night that they're a serious team. Jimmy Butler playing makes such a difference.
Well, we saw him walking into the arena tonight. It's going to be the debut of Victor Wembanyama here in his third NBA season. And his season was cut short last year with a blood clot. So a lot of people anxious to see Wemby back on the floor. And Mike, he grew 2 inches. Can you believe it? He's maybe listed at 7'7" right now entering this season. Definitely one of the storylines to monitor. Do you see him being in the MVP conversation this year?
I want to find out who's cooking for him because I need to see that person quickly. Okay, they had a couple more inches on. But Wemby is just such a terrific player in all aspects of the game. His ability to not only defend the rim, rebound the basketball, but facing up from behind the three-point line, putting it on the floor, finding open teammates, distributing the ball, a true star who hopefully will be around this league for many, many years to come.
Yeah, one of my favorite Wemby stats from last year is he led the NBA in blocks. He only played in 46 games. He had 28 more than Brook Lopez, who is second in blocks. What stands out to you about the alien, the characteristics that make him so unique?
Well, because he is so multi-talented, the nature of it might be for him to get himself away from the basket. But I like what San Antonio did by not only letting him go out and shoot his jumpers, but also reminding him how tall he is and what an advantage he has when he gets in the paint. So when he's down there low on the block, if he can get stronger, continue to put some weight on, put some muscle on, you have a guy who you can throw it to him on the block and he can distribute the ball if teams come back and double team him. The same way Brook Lopez goes behind the three-point line. You have a guy who's over 7 feet tall that can easily go out behind the three-point line. And how about running the floor? He'll get so many baskets running the floor in transition just by working hard, outrunning his opponent, getting to the front of the rim. And he's not too hard to find once he gets there.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing Wemby during media day with the Spurs. He said he spent his entire offseason kind of just focusing on perspective of life. It was a really scary situation for him with the blood clot last year. He spent a lot of this offseason traveling. He went to China, Japan. He went to NASA in Houston just to see what that was like for him. But he said nobody in the NBA trained harder than I did this offseason, which is got to be a scary sight for the rest of the league, don't you think, Mike?
Well, he knows he has an opportunity to be one of the all-time greats, but that's down the road. You have to get there first. And if he's willing to do the work, and from the time he got there, all I heard from the Spurs coaching staff was, what a great work ethic you have, what a great individual he is. He's a sponge trying to soak up every bit of knowledge that you want to give him. So whichever coach was working with him, whoever wanted to sit with him and go over video, this wasn't a guy that was trying to run out of the room. It was a guy who wanted to stay longer, a guy who wanted to stay after practice to get more shots up, work on his ball handling, work on his back to the basket moves. So this is one of those special guys that come along every so often that's willing to put the time, the work, the effort in to gain stardom, to become a superstar in the NBA.
From one number one pick to the next, Cooper Flagg going to be making his NBA debut for these Dallas Mavericks. He's the youngest player to take the floor in the NBA since LeBron James at 19, the first be number one overall draft pick to be 19 years old. What excites you most about Cooper Flagg? What type of expectations do you have for the teenager?
Well, I've talked to a number of scouts who went to watch their exhibition games, and I had watched him quite a bit when he played at Duke. The big thing everybody says, it's amazing that at his age, he has such a tremendous grasp and understanding for what the game is about, where the next pass is, where to look next. It comes easy to him. During the exhibition season, he played 1, 2, 3, and the 4 spot for the Dallas Mavericks. So imagine he's bringing the ball down the court one time, and then the next time when a power forward switches onto him, that guy's got to guard him off the dribble. He has the ability to shoot the ball with range. He's unselfish. He has great passing skills. He can get on the glass and rebound the ball and block shots for you. He's one of those special players that Dallas happened to be the lucky one to get him.
And he might be lucky that it's Jason Kidd that's his head coach. I mean, I'm here in Milwaukee right now, Mike, where I've had the opportunity to watch Giannis his entire career here play for the Bucks, and it was Jason Kidd who put the ball in Giannis's hands and made him a point forward back in the 2017 season. That was the evolution, the next step that Giannis was able to take. Ended up winning a couple of MVPs, leading his team to the NBA Finals. Do you think that's going to be a big role in Cooper Flagg's development, just working alongside Jason Kidd and being in that point forward role?
I don't think there's any question. Jason Kidd is one of the all-time greats. He's the ultimate winner. If you remember when the United States got beat back in the Olympics, that one it may have been the World Championships when they were beaten by Greece. It was Jason Kidd who, on that next Olympic team, when they faced that same team again, he told Mike Krzyzewski, the head coach of Team USA, on that high middle pick and roll, which we see every game, every night in the NBA, he said, switch it. I can guard that big guy role. Don't worry about it. It'll make it easier on the rest of us. And that's what happened. He took the challenge. That's what Jason Kidd was all about. The toughness about him. He's so smart, the basketball IQ. And then physically, think about it. He couldn't make a three-point shot in the beginning of his career. And by the end, he was very good at making threes. So why not have that guy as the mentor to Cooper Flagg? And he's going to give him a long leash. He'll let him do some things that perhaps other players you'd pull him back on. But Flagg understands the game, and so does Jason Kidd.
Well, I mentioned that Cooper Flagg, youngest #1 NBA draft pick since LeBron James. And here is the King entering year number 23. But for the first time in his career, Mike, he's actually not available for the season opener. Year 23 for LeBron James, and he's out right now until probably the middle of November, it's looking like, with his sciatica, dealing with that injury right now. What do you make of year 23 for number 23?
I don't think there's any question that the Lakers were missing him last night on the floor, as great a player as Luka is. This is the guy who ties everything together. He's the guy who distributes the ball. He brings the ball down. He gets it to the guys that should get the ball. And then if need be, he can score the basketball. And, you know, I go back to his high school days to follow up on that Cooper Flagg statement. I always credited his high school coach with not worrying about winning so that he looked like a great high school coach. He was so big, so strong in high school, he could simply overpower anybody that played against him. But his high school coach played him on the perimeter also, and he made him bring the ball down. He saw the great skills that he had. He saw the vision that he had. He helped LeBron develop his game on the outside as well as the inside. And I gave his high school coach a lot of credit for that. It's part of the reason why LeBron developed into the player that he is.
Well, something to keep in mind with LeBron James, if he wants to win any of those individual awards. Last year, he was second-team All-NBA. He has to play 65 games. So we'll see what LeBron's availability is during the first half of this season. While we're talking Lakers, you mentioned the game last night. They certainly needed him, as Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers welcomed the Warriors to town last night, the other game of the doubleheader to open the 2025-2026 NBA season. And the Warriors making a statement against their rivals, and no surprise, Steph Curry with his fingerprints all over this game. Jimmy Butler finding him backdoor. And for Steph, an impressive game for him. Buddy Hield hitting the deep three. Luka Doncic, 43 points to lead the Lakers. That's his third 40-point game since joining Los Angeles. And it was one of those night-night moments for Steph Curry as he ends up scoring 23 points in this game in his 17th NBA season. Your takeaways from that matchup between the Warriors and the Lakers, Mike?
Well, first, Jimmy Butler gets to the foul line 16 times and makes all 16 of his free throw attempts. So he was huge in backing up Curry. Curry knocking down threes, obviously key for them. Buddy Hield came in and did a great job in making threes from downtown. The bench for Golden State outscored the Laker bench 33-18. That was huge for them last night. Luka did his best to keep him hanging in there, but he needed a little more support. They brought Ayton in to be the center that they haven't had in a long time. Ayton, 5 of 7 from the floor, 0 for 2 from the foul line. They need a little bit more out of Ayton as they go on during the season. But LeBron coming back fixes a lot of problems the team have.
And where do you see the Lakers fitting into the West right now, Mike?
I think it's going to be a battle all year long. Go back to last year. They finished the year 50-32. The Clippers finished 50-32. And both of these teams are going to be very close to each other. That rivalry of being in the same city. But this Laker team is going to surprise some people. It did a nice job of picking up some pieces along the way. You've got 2 superstars on this team. You got some guys who will stick their nose in there, the great work ethic that they have. And I like the idea that they feel that they're a pretty darn good team. They feel they're going to be in the playoffs this year. But the injury factor, when you're dealing with older players, you've got to always be concerned about that.
Yeah, and Luka Doncic on a mission this year, looking for his first MVP. 43 points in his debut this year with the Los Angeles Lakers, his first season debut with LA. Well, he was the big midseason splash last year. Coming up here on FanDuel Sports Network Live, old faces in new places. It was a game of musical chairs in the association, and we make our picks for the breakout players for this upcoming season. It's all coming up next as we preview the NBA season right here on FanDuel Sports Network Live.
Customers choose your own reward every day. FanDuel, play your game.
Shop security cameras this Halloween at Ring.com.
Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis bring you VSiN by the Books, the show that breaks down the biggest stories in sports betting from the night before and gets you up to speed as a new day begins.
Essentially, if St. Louis wins that series, Dave, then you're in a pretty profitable spot to be able to hedge that National League pennant ticket.
If there's one kryptonite for Superman, it's the putter.
Start your day with all the crucial information you need to become a sharper bettor.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Hey, small business owners. Your company may need to file its beneficial ownership information with the federal government.
Some folks chase fish. Me, I chase the whole story.
Are you ready?
I'm hitting the road to fish the best waters in America.
Woo!
And meet the people who make these places special.
Good one, Jameson.
Every stop a new connection.
There he is. Fish on.
Every cast a new lesson.
Look at this thing. It's huge.
And yeah, a whole lot of fun along the way.
Yeah, boy.
Fish on!
Let's go! Oh, my God.
Catch it all on Road Trip Angler.
Welcome back to FanDuel Sports Network Live. Stephen Watson and Mike Fratello getting you set for this NBA season. Mike's been around this game for 50 years. You're not surprised to know that there was a lot of moving parts in NBA rosters this offseason, were you?
No, but boy, you hit it right on the head. There were a ton of guys changing uniforms, and you've got to learn the new names of where they are right now.
Yeah, 24 teams making their season debut tonight in the NBA, and it's important to pick up those rosters and remind yourself of some of the new faces in the NBA. We mentioned Kevin Durant, part of Houston in that loss last night in double overtime to OKC. Desmond Bane traded to Orlando. Miles Turner signing with the Bucks after they stretch and waived Damian Lillard. Cameron Johnson traded to Denver. Kristaps Porzingis is now with the Hawks. And Jalen Green was a part of that Kevin Durant trade as he is now with the Phoenix Suns. And Just a few weeks ago, I spoke to Miles Turner about his decision to sign with the Bucks and the new opportunity after spending his first decade of his NBA career in Indianapolis.
Well, first impressions, man, I said, I took some getting used to. I spent so much time in the same division, obviously, as my former team, and just the rivalries that came with it. But being on the other side, man, it's cool, man. All eyes forward, I'm embracing it, and it's just it's really a storied and a cool part of my career.
Why now?
I'm heading to the prime of my career, and I just kind of just felt change was a little necessary. I think that sometimes change brings out the best in you, and you got to also go where you're celebrated. These guys, here in the front office, the players, they've all maybe feel very welcome.
Heard Miles Turner use the phrase, wanted to be celebrated, and he's celebrating his time in Milwaukee. I mean, we've seen him throwing out first pitches at Brewers games. He's been to Packers games. He's enjoying his new life in a Bucks uniform. What are your expectations for Miles Turner, and how does he make this Bucks team better?
It's not easy to go out and find a piece just like the one that you lost that was so valuable. So I'm talking about Brook Lopez leaving the Bucks and winding up with the Clippers. A big man who can block shots, can rebound the ball, can shoot threes from the perimeter. Well, that's what Turner can do. And he may not be as bulky as Brook Lopez was, but this guy complements the other players that they have. He gives them one more three-point shooter, just like Brook did. You got to figure out who you want to play on, how you're going to play him during the season. They got the perfect replacement for Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I know, talking to Doc Rivers, he said there's an emphasis on speed, especially in transition for this Bucks team. They wanted to get younger. They wanted to get faster. It was that young, fast Pacers team that's eliminated them the last couple of years from the NBA postseason. We'll see what Turner looks like in now his rivals' colors. Who do you believe will make the biggest impact of those names that we listed on their new team?
There's a couple that could really step up and make a huge difference. Bane going to Orlando. Remember, Orlando was right at the bottom of the league last year in three-point shooting. This guy will give them perimeter game. Because of his build, he's built so well, so strong. You tend to look at him and say, he's what, 6'2", 6. No, he's listed at 6'5". So you kind of miss that when you're watching him play, but he can really shoot the basketball, and he might be just what Orlando needed. And if they can ever get healthy in a couple of the other positions, this is going to be a team that has to be reckoned with, because they took a lot of people down to the wire last year, lost some heartbreakers on turnovers, missed shots, and the fact that they couldn't make threes. It was not a good year from behind the line for them.
Yeah, they were last in the NBA in three-pointers made, three-point field goal percentage. Desmond Bane, a career 41% three-pointer. It feels like a perfect fit for him in a Magic uniform, and brings a good presence to an already pretty deep roster. I think the Magic are one of those teams to really look out for in the Eastern Conference. Mike, do you agree?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that fits in the character, the culture of the Orlando Magic. Desmond Bane's all about that. So it was a perfect guy for them to go out and get. And besides that, he's a really good basketball player and gives them something that they really need, a guy that can knock down an open shot from downtown.
Well, the team that he used to play for, the Memphis Grizzlies, tipping off in their 25th season here tonight in the NBA since they moved to the city of Memphis. They've reached the postseason in 4 of the last 5 years in a crowded Western Conference, and they are motivated by a simple phrase.
Red off the bounce. 360 spin and a finish. Oh. Edie. Yes, sir. Went to the hand. Wells. One-legged three. Jared, a fadeaway three for the tiebreak. He broke it in. Oh, yes, he did. Pippen, drop off. Durant. Oh! Yes!
Well, Mike, it's an organization you know well. You spent your final 3 years here in your coaching career. What are your expectations for this Grizzlies team? And, no more Bane, but they get Ja back. And, there's some question marks a little bit with their health. But where do you see them fitting into this crowded West?
Well, the first thing would be for them to get the sideshow out of the way. Everything that was going on during the course of the season. You have an excellent coach that, with 3 games left, 4 games left in the regular season, you get rid of that coach, and after the job he had done, people couldn't figure out why. You bring in the new head coach with a different philosophy altogether. He finally gets a chance to start out fresh from training camp to install the system that he wants to use. You've got to get more productivity out of Jaren Jackson. You know, he dropped from 3 block shots a game down to 1.5 last year. So defensively, they were hurting. To me, there's no bigger question than how many games will we see Ja Morant on the court? Hopefully all the issues are behind Ja Morant. I love watching this guy play. The people that come to the games love watching him play. He's electricity during the course of the game. The things that he can do, not many people in the league can do that. But the outside stuff that took away from it and caused him to mix the games because of the suspension, hopefully that's all behind him and the Grizzlies get a chance to come back and just think about basketball and being a good basketball team, because the city loves their Grizzlies.
I mean, these highlights are incredible every single time Ja Morant steps on the floor, and it's important to remind ourselves he's still only 26 years old, an incredible talent in this league. I mentioned some of the injuries. Ty Jerome strained his calf. He's going to miss 4 weeks. Scottie Pippen Jr. needs surgery on his left big toe. He's out for 3 months. Zach Edey, who they just signed to his rookie contract, ankle injury. He could miss the first 2 months. Do you see this team being a playoff team, Mike?
Well, if they get their bodies back, they have a chance at it. But if they're missing those kind of bodies for significant games, not in the Western Conference. It's too tough in the Western Conference. You've got to be good. You've got to be lucky. You've got to be healthy to be able to get into the playoffs in the West.
Well, I mentioned that the NBA season kicking off, 24 teams taking the floor tonight across the association. And there's 4 ways to watch your local teams with FanDuel Sports Network this season. You can find us on your cable satellite channel lineup. You can log into your television provider to stream on the FanDuel Sports Network app. You can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network, or you can watch us on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Plenty of ways to watch your favorite teams right here on FanDuel Sports Network. Well, still to come here on FanDuel Sports Network Live. The East, injury-riddled, wide open. Who are the contenders right now in the Eastern Conference? Who are the pretenders? We hear from the All-NBA representatives. The Beasts out of the East coming up next.
Make a move. I dare you.
With Ring, you can protect your home from anywhere.
Pass is up. He caught it. End zone. Touchdown.
All customers get a profit boost every NFL game day. FanDuel, play your game.
Welcome to Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball. 44 of the best players on the planet on 4 teams. The excitement and anticipation are over. Time to lace them up and go play.
We've seen some of the best players in the world come through these doors, but the overwhelming sentiment, excitement.
The chase for the championship is on.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
You know that feeling when you step out onto a trail and you have no idea what's around the next bend? Bye, buddy. That's my favorite part. Woo! Unbelievable. I've hiked a lot of trails, met a lot of amazing people, and learned one thing. That's that adventure isn't just about the miles, it's about the moments.
Cut that, please.
Don't cut that. Turns out, are we there yet is the wrong question. The real question is, how did we get here?
What is there to say? This is breathtaking.
Catch it all on Epic Trails.
Years ago, 1986, Mike Fratello earned NBA Coach of the Year honors. In his 3rd season in Atlanta, he led the Hawks to a record of 50-32, the first of 4 consecutive regular seasons with at least 50 wins. Mike, I had to surprise you with this one a little bit. What stands out to you about that season?
Well, the hairdresser did a very good job, if you notice, okay? Perm back then, Hubie Brown was my mentor, and Hubie went with the perm look, so I jumped in there and said, why not? But the big thing about it was we started, or had on that team 4 rookies, okay? And they were outstanding rookies. We had a chance to get rid of a couple of them, to bring in a couple of veteran guys, and we decided to stay with them. We loved the energy that they brought. We had drafted Doc Rivers and Randy Whitman in previous drafts. Tree Rollins was our staple. Dominique Wilkins was our superstar, and God, he loved to play every night. Did he excite the crowds every night? And then we wound up drafting Kevin Willis, that power forward at 7 feet who could really run the floor. So the young group, with the energy they had, played hard every night, and that was just a fun season that year.
Yeah, Wilkins led the league in scoring. He was second in MVP voting behind Larry Bird, part of the Celtics team that unfortunately ended your Hawks team that year en route to the NBA title. Hard to believe it's been 40 years for you?
It certainly is. It's gone by quickly, and I really enjoy seeing those players when I get a chance to run into them. Spud down in Dallas, Dominique when I get to Atlanta, Kevin Willis will talk. They were just such a great, close group, and I still try to keep ties, maintain contact with them when I can.
Well, we love having you on the TV side, but it's important to note, 23rd all-time in wins as an NBA coach. Mike Fratello, congratulations on an incredible coaching career. Congratulations on 40 years later winning that Coach of the Year. So who's going to win the East? 40 years later, the favorites are once again the Cleveland Cavaliers right now in the Eastern Conference, plus 210 odds. The Knicks, Magic, Hawks in there. Imagine the Milwaukee Bucks should be in that conversation as well. We'll dive into that conversation, but first, let's hear from some of the top players from the favorites out of the East.
We could be happy that we were the number 1 seed and we did a lot of things for the first time since Ron was here and all that, but I think from the top down, you feel that from Dan and Grant and Kobe and Kenny and everybody all the way down. I think you feel that it's not just, okay, we're here. Like, we're not complacent in that regard. We want to do more. I think that's the first part. It's like the want to. And then it's like, okay, now the how. You know what I mean? I think that's first and foremost.
I feel like every team that wins championships usually has to go through some hard times, hardships. And I feel like that last year was that for us. And because we all expected to go all the way to the end. And it came a little short, but like I said, a lot of teams got to go through that and learn from that and see what the differences are. And I feel like that experience that we learned last year is going to help us for this year.
So, Mike, you look at the odds again. Cavs are the favorites. Do you believe they should be the favorites, and why?
Yeah, I think they should be. It's a correct pick. Remember, they lose a very important piece in Ty Jerome, but they bring in Lonzo Ball to help out because of the missing starting point guard. Darius Garland will be out for a short time to start the season. So you find a guy like Ball, who's a great pickup by the front office of the Cavaliers. So they won 64 games last. I'm not sure they can do it again right now. They had 2 long winning streaks last year, one to start the season out, and they followed up with another one a little bit later on. 64 is a tough number. The East has gotten better, certain teams. So they may not win 64, but they'll be right there at the top. And that's just one reason for them. There are other guys you have to look at, though, as well. How about talking about New York? The first thing you look there is they have a new coach, okay? And he's a good coach, and he's been around for a while in Mike Brown. And New York against the Cavaliers have had some great matchups over the last couple of years. But bringing Mike Brown in, Tom Thibodeau did an incredible job. Each year, Thibodeau gets them 1 year further than they were the year before. The pressure's on that team. The pressure's on the head coach to get it done. Orlando gets Bame. They got a superstar in Banchero, so why couldn't they be good? Philadelphia has 2 stars. If they play, if Embiid plays, if Paul George plays, how good are they going to be this year? And then Milwaukee, yeah, Dame is out, but Turner came in. A lot of teams could win that East.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. It does kind of feel like a 2-horse race on paper, just with the regular season the Cavs had last year. And, of course, the Knicks making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, pretty much returning that entire roster. Does the head coach thing make a huge difference for you when you look at the outlook of this Knicks season?
Well, let's just throw this out there. Think about where Mike Brown came from before he got the Knicks job. He was in Sacramento. He turned the Sacramento program around. What did he do? He went up speed. He had De'Aaron Fox. They pushed the ball back at you every opportunity. They played fast. They played in a hurry. The New York Knicks take the ball in bounds. They give it to Jalen Brunson, who's one of the best players in the NBA. Second-round pick, by the way. A lot of people made a mistake on him. But then they let Brunson get him into their offense, or Brunson controls the basketball and winds up scoring if he's not hitting one of his other teammates. So here's Brown taking over a team that played a different style, a different tempo. I'm sure his emphasis, as it was when he was back in Cleveland, will be at the defensive end of the floor. I'm curious to see how they try to play offensively with the new head coach.
We mentioned the Bucks, we mentioned the Magic, the Sixers. That's a fascinating storyline, Mike. You think they can contend this year? Can they stay healthy?
Gosh, you got to like those guys coming back. If you had a Paul George and an Embiid in there, and then their point guard, okay, who just keeps getting better and better each year out, seems to be improving as a player. Okay, Maxi's terrific. I like Philadelphia's team, and they have a good head coach, by the way.
Yeah, well, Embiid had knee surgery in April. He played just 19 games last year. It all starts with Embiid and whether or not he can be on the floor. Paul George not available for the Sixers in the season opener, but they expect to have him back pretty shortly. And then in the Western Conference, mentioned the Thunder. Already saw them win in double overtime over the Rockets, who added Kevin Durant in the offseason. Of course, the Lakers without LeBron to start off this year. And then you have the Clippers pushing all their chips into the middle right now to try and compete in that Western Conference. As you look at Steve Ballmer's impact since taking over ownership in 2014, playoffs in 4 of the last 5 seasons, but can they make a run to an NBA title? Let's hear from Jim Jackson on the state of the Clippers.
Thanks, Steven. Thanks, Coach Fratello. You guys are pumped. I'm pumped. Clipper Nation should be pumped about what could really be a special season for the Los Angeles Clippers. Let me walk you through a couple reasons why I'm so pumped. First, Kawhi Leonard, healthy, in camp, engaged, in midseason form. Not only that, but the team right now is developing that continuity that sometimes would take a few months when Kawhi was back in the fold. Added depth. And not just bodies, but added depth in the right positions. When James Harden no longer was in the game, needed a playmaker. Well, you solved that problem this year by bringing back into the fold one of the best point guards, future first ballot Hall of Famer, Chris Paul. What he adds to that. Not just the playmaking, but the savviness of a veteran. Third, you needed depth behind Big Zoo. Zoo couldn't do everything by himself. Rim protect, score, run the break, help on pick and rolls. Championship DNA brought to the table Brook Lopez. Not only rim protection, savvy, high IQ, but the ability now for James, for Chris Paul, and also for Bradley Beal to have a big that can pick and pop, spread the court, keep the court spread, and knock down threes. Added experience, another year under the program, Chris Dunn, DJ, Bogey. Those guys now understanding what their role is going to be. And, of course, the savvy veteran coming back in Nicholas Batum. All that being said, the depth allows this team to be as versatile, small, big, can play up-tempo, play in half court, can defend, can rebound. This team can also grind you out and be physical with you. That's why I'm excited about this year. Plus, we got one of the best coaches in the NBA still manning the helm in Ty Lue on the bench. So if you can't get excited about that, Clipperland, I don't know what to tell you, but be ready. It's going to be a heck of a ride this year.
All right, thank you so much, Jim. Mike, I imagine you share that enthusiasm for the Clippers. I know you're a part of their broadcast team as well. I mean, the question every year, which way are the Clippers going? Can they make a run this season?
As Jimmy said, they're deep. They are very talented. Let me throw an interesting stat out to you. This is the most the Clippers have scrimmaged in training camp since Ty Lue has gotten there. He decided to go and play more this year. They would play early in the practices, not later on or towards the end of the practices. In all of the scrimmage sessions, Kawhi Leonard and James Harden did not miss a play. They participated and played in every one of those scrimmages and played every play of the scrimmages, which I think says something with how they feel, what they've done in the offseason, coming back the way they are, the competitors that they are. And if they can stay healthy with all these bodies, and we heard Jimmy mention what they did in bringing Lopez in behind the big man, Ivica Zubac. Chris Paul, going into tonight's game, when he came to camp, he was the third point guard. He earned the job as the backup behind James Harden. Tonight in the game, it will be Chris Paul coming off the bench at the 1 spot.
Do you think the history between Paul and Harden will play a key factor for the Clippers, just knowing they played together in Houston for a couple of seasons as well?
This team is all about togetherness. This is a veteran. It's a group that's been around for a lot of games, for a lot of seasons. And from day one, Mr. Ballmer, the owner of the team, really encourages the team dinners, the team meals. This group spends a lot of time together away from the court. And there's this experience exchanging going on between them, because if you look at the names on the roster and the teams that they've been on, and now they're coming together under the umbrella of L.A. Clippers. And that front office with Lawrence Frank, he finds a way. It seems just when they need something to happen, he finds a way to make it happen. I mean, he goes out and gets a Collins. He goes out and gets a Brook Lopez. He gets Chris Paul to come in. He's done an incredible job of retooling this team every time they need it.
There's a lot of noise around Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers during the offseason. We don't have to dive into that stuff, Mike, but I think it is important to note that Kawhi Leonard has played over 60 games just one season since he's been a Clipper. He just have to play more? Is it as simple as Kawhi being more available for this team to take that next step?
Well, did you hear it in the last 6 or 7 years? Have you ever heard somebody say Kawhi Leonard might be the best player in the NBA? If you've heard that, then think about what that means if he plays an extra 15 to 20 games a year for your team. Think about the playoffs they've gotten knocked out in, where Kawhi started out 1 game, 2 games, played extremely well, and then gets injured in the 3rd game and misses or is hobbled in the rest of the playoff games, and they get eliminated. He is a key piece to any franchise that he's on, because he's that good a player, both ends of the floor.
Mentioned some of the key offseason additions. Chris Paul reuniting with James Harden. Brook Lopez, I have front row seat to him the last 7 years here in Milwaukee. It's a guy who does not miss games, loves to be on the floor. He will be a key piece as well. I think the Clippers are going to surprise some people in that very crowded West, and always appreciate having yours and Jim's input as guys who are around that team a lot. Well, Clippers, one of those teams you can watch right here on FanDuel Sports Network, and there's 4 ways to watch your local team here on FanDuel Sports Network. You can find us on your cable satellite channel lineup. You can log in with a TV provider to stream on the FanDuel Sports Network app. You can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network online, or you can watch us on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Nearing tip times across the NBA right now. One of the big questions. We saw SGA, his first defense of his MVP. Who will try and take down SGA as the most valuable player? Who will win the title? We make our picks next.
Grabs the rebound, pushes it ahead. Finds the open man, he puts it up, scores!
All customers choose your own reward every day. FanDuel, play your game.
Shop security cameras this Halloween at Ring.com.
Some folks chase fish. Me, I chase the whole story.
Are you ready?
I'm hitting the road to fish the best waters in America.
Woo!
And meet the people who make these places special.
Good one, Jameson.
Every stop a new connection.
There he is. Fish on.
Every cast a new lesson.
Look at this thing. It's huge.
And yeah, a whole lot of fun along the way.
Yeah, boy. Fish on! Let's go! Oh, my God.
Catch it all on Road Trip Angler.
When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger.
You know that feeling when you step out onto a trail and you have no idea what's around the next bend? Bye, buddy. That's my favorite part.
Woo! Unbelievable.
I've hiked a lot of trails, met a lot of amazing people, and learned one thing. That's that adventure isn't just about the miles, it's about the moments.
Cut that, please.
Don't cut that.
Turns out, are we there yet is the wrong question. The real question is, how did we get here?
What is there to say? This is breathtaking.
Catch it all on Epic Trails.
Stephen Watson, Mike Fratello here with you on FanDuel Sports Network Live, getting you set for the NBA season. We saw a great opening night in the association with the Thunder taking down the Houston Rockets in double overtime. The Warriors taking down Luka and the Lakers. 24 FanDuel Sports Network game, or 24 teams a part of FanDuel Sports Network coverage here tonight, and you can watch on FanDuel Sports Network with these 4 ways. Find us on your cable satellite channel lineup. You can log into your TV provider to stream on the FanDuel Sports Network app, and you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network online or watch us on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. So we like the big predictions now late in the show, Mike. Let's start with the MVP. You look at the odds to win NBA MVP as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks to defend. Nikola Jokic looks for his 4th. Giannis Antetokounmpo looks for his 3rd. And, of course, Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama both looking for their 1st. Let's start with SGA. Do you feel like he has the best odds to defend and be a 2-time MVP in this league?
Oh, I think what goes hand in hand with being the MVP is the number of wins your team has. Obviously, if you have the ability to go to the end and win the finals, the championship, okay, those all play into the thinking of people that are voting. But to me, there are two candidates up there that are going to be fighting down tooth and nail down the stretch. One is Shai, and the other is Nikola Jokic. He's such a great player, makes his team better all the time, and so does Shai. So I'm saying the same thing about both guys. They make their teams better. They have such an impact on the game. They can score when they need to score. They make a big bucket when they need a big bucket, and they should be the front runners.
Well, Jokic attempting to join Larry Bird as the last player to finish 1st or 2nd in MVP voting in 5 consecutive seasons. I mean, I got to defend my guy here in Milwaukee a little bit. You don't see Giannis being in the fight? Not a 3-headed monster once again?
I love Giannis. I think Giannis will be right there, but I think the success of Milwaukee will also help Giannis to win that award. If they have a great year, if they wind up going further than people thought, then Giannis will benefit from it.
Yeah, he's finished top 5 in MVP voting 7 straight years. We mentioned Cooper Flagg working with Jason Kidd in that point forward role. Well, Doc Rivers is going to bring back the point forward role to Giannis Antetokounmpo this season. He's going to have the ball in his hands a whole lot more. So don't be surprised if those usage numbers are up and Giannis finds himself in the conversation. But I do agree with you, Mike. Your team has to play well, and the Bucks have to play well for Giannis to be in that conversation. I do agree that the Thunder and the Nuggets are the 2 best teams in the NBA right now. Time for some bold predictions that we have here for the NBA season. What is your bold prediction this year, Mike?
The Los Angeles Clippers are going to defy Father Time. They're going to the NBA Finals. That's what's going to happen. They're going to upset Oklahoma City, and we're going to see the Clippers in the final, because after all the games that Kawhi has missed because of injuries, after everything that Mr. Ballmer has done to bring this team a new building, to have more restrooms in that building than any other owner in the league, he deserves to have a team in the NBA Finals, because he was willing to make the sacrifice for this team. Moving the location, getting out of where the Lakers play to have their own building, all these veteran guys together under one roof, they're going to be in the finals. How about that?
Well, you mentioned sacrificing for the team. Sounds like he's sacrificing for the fans as well, adding more restrooms in the building.
That was important.
He's thinking about the fans.
Yes, he was thinking about them, and so more beer. I understand.
All right. Well, that's a bold prediction. The Clippers looking for an NBA title. I love it, though. They definitely have the star pieces. It's just whether or not they can stay healthy down the stretch. My bold prediction, 4 Antetokounmpo brothers will play together by the end of the year. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I do think that I do think Giannis is really going to make a run for MVP in Milwaukee for some of the points I listed earlier, but that doesn't feel like a true bold prediction. I'm going to go with another guy in the Eastern Conference, in Donovan Mitchell. He was All-NBA last year, first team. Not a lot of people remember that. Not a lot of people are talking about Donovan Mitchell. They're talking about the Cavs. But I have Donovan Mitchell for a second consecutive year earning first-team All-NBA. So that would put him as one of the top 2 guards in the NBA. He was ahead of Luka. He was ahead of Jalen Brunson last year alongside SGA in first-team All-NBA. Am I crazy here, Mike? Or do you see it too?
No, you're right on it. And we just heard that interview with him a few minutes ago. And this guy, if you could hear him in his interviews day in and day out like I do, because I live in the same city, he's just wonderful. He says the right thing all the time. He's inclusive of his teammates all the time. He takes blame if blame should be placed on him. He's not afraid to stand up and say, I made a bad pass. I missed that shot last night. I missed the foul shot down the stretch. That was my man that hit the big bucket. He takes the pressure off the other guys. He's willing to accept it. So he's become a terrific leader. And then he is such a positive person with the other teams in the city, the baseball team, the football team. He's a little bit of a mayor in his own way. And when you hear him speak, you're impressed by this young man because he says so many good things. He's on target all the time with his comments.
Yeah, he was 5th in MVP voting last year. I have him in the top 5 once again and earning that All-NBA for a second straight year. I have the Cavs coming out of the East, which leads us to our NBA Finals picks. Mike, I'll have you lead off. Who do you have meeting and battling for the Larry O'Brien Trophy come June?
Well, do you want me the step before, or do you want to just right to the finals? Because in the step before, I've got OKC fighting against Denver. All right, and in the East, it's going to be Cleveland fighting against the Knicks. Well, Cleveland's going to win, Oklahoma City's going to win, and it'll be an OKC-Cleveland finals.
So what about your bold prediction? I thought you had the Clippers winning it all, Mike.
Don't always believe what I say. Just remember that, okay? Don't always believe what I say.
It's the head and the heart. I know it's a battle. It's a battle. I'm going to go with NBA Finals, also featuring the Cleveland Cavaliers out of the Eastern Conference. But remember, in the West, it took 7 games for OKC to take down Denver last year. And I think this Denver team got a lot stronger in the offseason, adding Cameron Johnson. He's going to be a big piece for them and returning all their key pieces around him. So I actually have the Denver Nuggets upsetting the OKC Thunder in the Western Conference Finals and finding themselves hoisting the Larry O'Brien Trophy, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers when it's all said and done. It just feels like Nikola Jokic has to have 2 trophies when it's all said and done.
Last team to win back-to-back championships in the NBA was that Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, in 17 and 18.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and that'll be another incentive, another carrot out in front of OKC to go back and repeat.
Yep, I just think that it's going to be a great one for the Western Conference. I think that's going to be one of the best Western Conference postseason playoff pictures that we have seen in NBA history with the depth that we're seeing in that league. So many storylines heading into this year. In the Western Conference, of course, the East feels like it's a little bit more wide open with the injuries to Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton for the Celtics and the Pacers, respectively. So we'll see. But tonight, it's the start of a journey for so many teams as we take a look once again at some of the games that are about to tip off on FanDuel Sports Network. And a lot of the groups that we're going to see about, thinking about their hopes and dreams for this upcoming year. Any of these matchups in particular, Mike, stand out to you as a great way to kick off the season after how great last night was?
Well, I think a great game tonight is going to be Detroit at Chicago. I think Chicago is a much improved team. I think Josh Giddey, now that Ball has moved on to Cleveland, I think Giddey will be that much more assertive. I love the way he's playing. Love the Pistons team, the way they finished the season last year. Toronto's going to be a much improved team, and so is Atlanta. Putting Porzingis out there on the floor makes a big difference for a lot of those youngsters. Don't count Miami out, okay, because Miami is a team on a mission. They're determined to show that they still can play. When Hero comes back, that's such a piece that they're going to get returning. By the way, both teams in Florida there, so they might not like each other a whole lot, you know.
Last year at the trade deadline, we saw Luka Doncic traded to the Lakers. It shocked the NBA. Do you see any massive moves coming at the trade deadline if you had to predict any teams that are going to try and make that type of move in the NBA this season, Mike?
What I do see is, and I'm wondering who they're going to be, but there are going to be one or two teams that don't make the playoffs that people are going to say, my goodness, how could that happen? How could they not make the playoffs? But it's going to happen. We're going to be sitting watching somebody out of the playoffs that going into the season right now, we're saying, oh, they're a lock to make the playoffs. One injury, that's all a team needs, can knock a team out of contention. You know that. And you hope that it doesn't happen, but 82 games is a long season.
I'll tell you what, Mike, I hope the Achilles injuries are done because they've rid us of some of the great stars in the NBA. No Tatum, no Halliburton, no Lillard for this entire NBA season. But for so many teams, it begins here tonight. Mike Fratello, thank you so much for joining us. Our entire team at FanDuel Sports Network putting on this NBA preview show. Thank you to everybody behind the scenes as well. The season is underway. Fans making their way in the arena. Who's going to chase down the defending champs? It all begins tonight. Enjoy watching all year long on FanDuel Sports Network.
Hey, get away.
10 years ago, I invented the Ring video doorbell for moments like that, and Ring security cameras for moments like this.
We got you on video.
Protect your home the way I do. Learn more at ring.com.
Grabs the rebound, pushes it ahead, finds the open man, he puts it up, scores!
New customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, play your game.
This month on Breaking Par.
It is truly a destination. The Old West meets the new beautiful golf courses. It's kind of a neat mixture.
Kind of have a little bit of everything.
I can't think of any better place to live than Scottsdale, Arizona.
I'm a proud Scottsdale resident and plan to be here the rest of my life.
It sometimes feels like you're just lucky to be here.
That is why Scottsdale stands as the best golf destination in the world. This episode has it all. Playing all month long on Breaking Par.
Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome to Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball. 44 of the best players on the planet on 4 teams. The excitement and anticipation are over. Time to lace them up and go play.
We've seen some of the best players in the world come through these doors, but the overwhelming sentiment, excitement.
The chase for the championship is on.